constructed in their writings and so forth. This is the way John Calvin told a group of people, rich landlords, the way to control the masses is to say to them that when you are blessed by God is because you will have a multitude of things. And if you don't have these things, land and riches, then that means you're not in the favor of God. How silly is that? How silly is that? That God only loves the rich folks. And so, in order for you to get rich and find the favor of God, come over into the light with us. Because in the darkness, remember, there are monsters. The boogeyman is there. So come into our light, which is the light. Not knowing, folks, that this whole creation is darkness. Some folks call it dark matter. But once you leave the atmosphere, stratosphere of the planet Earth, everything else is black, dark. And the only light in the dark are the celestial bodies, the stars, the planets, and the other celestial bodies that are out there in the dark. But there are no monsters in the dark, my brothers and sisters. There are no creatures in the dark. Your danger is in the light. And let it not be known by you that the Messiah is the light of the world. That is true. But let it not be known that the light that you are in and I am in is that of the Most High. The Most High reigns in the dark. That's why we have this song that I love to sing. Let this little light of mine shine. I'm going to let my little light shine everywhere, every day. Let your light shine into the dark. Illuminate the darkness. That should be the international teaching of this world. Letting our light shine in the darkness so that others will see and gravitate to you. Otherwise, as one of my very good friends said to me, said, Doc, if they're in the dark and there's no light, they just continue to stumble around, never getting anywhere, running into obstacles after obstacles because there's no light. But if any of us just was a flicker of light, like we used to see the lightning bugs back in the day in this little mosquito lagoon that I grew up called Mims, Florida. We used to love to see the lightning bugs because there were no street lights. Actually, there were no real paved roads. And you could only play after dark when there was a full moon. That was the street lights of Mims, Florida, back in the 50s and the late 40s. So we are the lights of the world. This light that we have all been gravitating to, fighting to get there, killing each other to get there, is a lie. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's not real. So what is this international teaching, Dr. Kirkland, as I begin to close? The international teaching was something that counselors, we all pondered way back in the 70s when the transition was moving more and more toward human rights and looking at the conditions of the worlds and the mental capacities of the world to progress with the moving in our industrial societies. We realized that there were a lot of people that weren't going to keep up. There were a lot of people that were going to experience a lot of mental setbacks. And so, without having a true body of one single international institution functioning as our template, we all began to just stumble around as institutions, and we tried to come up with some type of meaning. And in some cases, we even wanted to find out what was the universal house of justice. What is justice? And how can it be universal? To this date, we still have not found an answer to that. Teaching centers began to pop up all over the world, and some of them continue to function even today. I know what many consider as the supervision of the house of justice. But again, I say, what are the houses of justice? What are the principal duties of international teaching, folks? And I believe, this is my belief, that the international teaching centers on the coordination of activities of various counselors, and if you will, the fivefold ministry, the prophets, the evangelists, the missionaries, the pastor teachers, the messengers, the imam, the priests, even back as far as I can remember studying the Friends Society, which is one of the first religions in this country, getting away from the Anglican Protestant movement and the Amish, the Mennonite, and so forth. All had their own center of teaching. Are you with me? I'm about to conclude. I realize that if I go too long, that I'm going to lose some folks, and I don't want to do that. We're coming up on the 30 minutes, and that's the allotted time that I have to bring these short messages to you. That universal teaching, international teaching, it may be helpful me to distinguish between the different writings of religions, to show that there is a spiritual station of individual believers. Yes, there is. And I also believe that there is a certain rank which may hold on to the function which they may perform in their community. I believe that there are different ranks. I believe that this whole universe is based on, if you will, physics. It's also based on mathematics. It's also based on laws, like the military, the court laws. There's order, and there are ranks in those orders, the ranks. And when you are elevated to a certain rank, your duties require that you adhere to the calling, letting your light shine to illuminate those things that are in the darkness. And I believe that most of that rank consists of, and not necessarily in this order, courtesy, reverence, dignity, respect for the rank and achievements of others as virtues which contribute to the harmony, the well-being of every community. But pride and self-aggrandizement, among the most deadly of sins. Pride, which comes before fall. Greed, never enough, wanting more and more. Self-aggrandizement, wanting for someone to always be, if you will, acknowledging you, showering accolades on you, always wanting people to say thank you, people to praise you. Those are the attributes of an autocratic government. And finally, I believe that we are to ultimately aim in our lives and in the life of every soul that we should be focused on attaining spiritual excellence. Now, I'm going to use a little oxymoron from my initial statement, opening statement, about not believing in religions. Well, I want to separate religions from spirituality. They're two different things, and maybe we'll talk about that at another time. But it is important that we strive to attain spiritual excellence, to win the good pleasure of the Most High. The true spiritual station of any soul, in my humble opinion, is known only to the Supreme Highest Energy Creator and the representative in this world, the Most High. That is the only spiritual station that knows who we are. It is quite a different thing from the ranks and stations that men and women occupy in the very different sectors of our society. Our society is not God. Our leaders, they're not gods. Only the Most High, the Supreme Highest Energy Creator, knows the hearts of men and women. And only the Spirit, the energy of the Most High that is in the earth today, commonly referred to as the Holy Spirit, resides in our hearts. So let it be known that no man can tell you where the light is. No man can tell you what is in the darkness. Only the Holy Spirit can reveal the truth of both the light and the darkness. The advent of the coming of the Messiah. Who, the man, who, not the what, but the who, came into this earth to bring light into the darkness and to explain and teach us the way for us to become the light of the world. Something to think about.